I'll tell you the story about the third wheelchair we gave away. This is one I made in the garage, and it was in India, Chennai, India, and it went to Indra. She was living in an orphanage. She had polio. They found her in a dumpster because it's a girl, first of all, is not as valuable as a male in the developing country, and a girl with polio it's really hard because it's going to be a death to the family. I mean, I can't go into the explanations, but this is what happens. A lot of times they're drowned or they're abandoned, and so she obviously had polio, and she was old enough to manifest the disease, and so they wound up getting to an orphanage, but it was an orphanage of mentally disabled children. And so she grew up, her peers were all mentally disabled, and she could not walk, but she had a good brain, but was never able to develop. And so she got a wheelchair when it's our third one. And
how old was she at the time?
Oh, I imagine she was 14 or 13. And it was just sort of a breakthrough for her. So she told the man, it's a Catholic-run orphanage, I want to go to school. What? I mean, I want to learn. I'm tired of just being here. I want to do something. Now I have some wheels. So, well, you can't just go to school. You got to qualify to be in school, especially if you're your age. So you got to take a test. Okay, well, let's get ready for the test. So she studied for a year, really hard, and then you have to pass the test so you can pay. In India, you got to buy, even though school is free, you got to pay your uniform and pay for books. So he actually did well enough on a test to get a scholarship to go to school. So they take her down for the first day, enrollment, that's a year later, and they're bringing her up in a wheelchair, and all of a sudden these nuns, it was a Catholic school, come running out and say, there must be some mistake. There's no way she can go to school here because we don't have the ability to take somebody in a wheelchair. And so there were nuns from the orphanage and nuns from the school kind of not arguing, but whatever they do when they have a disagreement. And they're praying and they're crying. She's crying and people are carrying on. This is going on for hours. And the headmaster's out through the window seeing all this, and he comes out and said, I've never seen such commotion. What is the problem? And they said what was going on. He says, well, we're going to have to make an exception in this case. I can tell this girl is going someplace. She's got their heart. She's got the dedication. We'll arrange for her. We'll put her school classroom down in my office. I'll go up to the second floor. And whenever they need to be carried up, I'm sure we get students that carry her up on the stairs in her wheelchair. So she started going to school. She wound up getting a scholarship. She wanted to be an architect. She got a scholarship to go to college. She wound up not doing so well as an architect, so she became a social worker. And now she's got a job in India as a social worker on wheels.
Amazing. I personally think that anyone out there that, no matter how jaded they are, cynical they are, that familiarized themselves with the work that you guys do every day around the world, I would think that they would just be deeply moved. I can't imagine how someone couldn't be. So how can people best support your mission? What can people do immediately to help Free Wheelchair Mission?
Well, probably the easiest, most painless thing that people can do is talk about us. Because if the word
blog about it, share this interview.
You got this $77.91 wheelchair that we can give the people. That's what it costs to have one made, shipped, and delivered. That's the total cost. All the overhead for this building, our salaries and everything, is $77.91 to provide a wheelchair. In fact, if they do it now before the end of October, there's a ×2 challenge we have, and if they give one, whatever they give will be matched. So suppose it is a wheelchair, then they'll get 2. If they give 2, then it'll be 4. But just talking about it, first of all, Americans don't understand that there could be 100 million people crawling on the ground or being carried or languishing in the background. It's totally double the size of California. It's a big number, 100 million. It's just an estimate. They don't understand it could be an estimate. They don't understand why people don't get on wheelchairs like they do in the United States, because they just haven't had an opportunity to travel like some of us have. And then how could you possibly do it for $77.91? Well, that's where the engineering comes into place and the wise business advice that we've had. Then the next step is now I want to really help somebody. I don't want to just talk about it. I want to be part of this. I want to be part of this plan. I want to help somebody personally. I want to get somebody a wheelchair. How do I do that? Well, I mean, there's so many ways you could raise $78 in no time. Between selling cookies, if you're a kid in high school, in grade school, brownies, Girl Scouts, running a marathon, talking to your friends, talking to the pastors at church, promoting us. Pretty soon the money just starts coming. So that's the second thing they can do to help us really, become part of our ambassador program, where they actually are out talking to people. And then, of course, the third way is donate, just plain donate. And some people, it's not too hard to come up with an extra $78. And that's, this is something that's going to last years. This is something that's going to change somebody's life. It isn't just a meal or a book or something. This is really you're going to give somebody a chance to actually become a human being again, to get off the ground, not be treated like an animal, be out in the daylight, give them a voice. And it's a very significant thing. And what can you do for somebody for $77 that's going to change your life? I mean, for a long-term period of time. You can fill them up, you can fill their stomachs up for a couple of days, but they're going to be hungry. But this is something that's going to change them. And so there's three different levels that they can get involved with Free Wheelchair Mission.
Great, thank you so much.